My name is Luna, and for most of my life, I believed I was ordinary. I wasn't rich, powerful, or influential, just a woman juggling life one routine at a time, washing dishes, folding clothes, smiling through exhaustion. My husband passed away years ago, leaving me with my son, Ethan, who grew up, got married, and drifted far faster than I expected. The day that changed everything began quietly. I woke up dizzy, my heart thumped out of rhythm. I remember reaching for a glass of water, but my fingers slipped. The floor rushed up toward me, then nothing, just darkness. When the darkness lifted, I was drowning in bright lights and beeping machines. A hospital room, my body felt like it had been packaged in pain. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked like dry leaves. A nurse leaned over me, stunned. "You're awake," she whispered, as if she'd seen a ghost. That didn't make sense. Awake from what? Minutes blurred into an hour. Doctors poured in. Nurses scribbled. Words floated around me. Coma. Critical. Miracle. My breath caught. How long had I been gone? Before anyone could answer, a lawyer entered, his expression sharp and focused, holding a thick folder with my name embossed on top. Double quotes. "Mrs. Luna," he said, voice steady. "I'm not sure how to say this, but you've inherited $50 million. I blinked, once, twice. "How?" I croaked. He explained that a distant relative, one I barely remembered, died unexpectedly, leaving no heirs except me. The paperwork had been processed while I was still unconscious. My world tilted. 50 million. Me. It felt unreal, like a movie script someone accidentally dropped into my life. But the shock wasn't over. Later that evening, I heard hurried footsteps. The door swung open, and Ethan rushed in, followed by his wife, Amara, who froze at the sight of me sitting upright, breathing, alive. The moment her eyes landed on me, she screamed a sharp, terrified sound that echoed through the halls. Her face drained of all color. You weren't supposed to wake up," she whispered, barely audible, her voice trembling. Ethan shot her a warning glare, but something in her expression sent a chill crawling up my spine. "What did she mean?" "Mom," Ethan said quickly, forcing a smile, "we're just glad you're okay." But Amara's eyes told a different story, one written in fear. The doctor cleared his throat. "She's recovering well. A rare miracle. With rehabilitation, she may return home soon." Amara's fingers tightened around her phone. I noticed her knuckles go white. Something was very wrong. Later, as they stepped outside to make a call, I heard whispers through the partially open door. "She woke up," Amara hissed. "You said she wouldn't." I froze. Ethan's reply was muffled. Panicked, my heartbeat pounded between each beep of the monitor. Just then, a nurse quietly entered and closed the door, her eyes hinting she had heard everything. She leaned close and whispered, "Mrs. Luna, you need to be careful." I lay still, pretending to sleep as the nurse's warning echoed in my ears like thunder. Be careful. Careful of what? Of whom? My mind spun like a wheel slipping on ice. Footsteps returned. I closed my eyes just as the door creaked open. Amara's perfume arrived before she did. Sweet, artificial, suffocating. She stood beside my bed, breathing quietly, as if studying me. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You should have stayed asleep." A chill slid down my spine. I wanted to sit up, to scream, but I stayed still, my body too weak, my heart pounding. Ethan walked in behind her. "Stop," he hissed. "Someone will hear you." Amara clenched her jaw. "She's going to ruin everything." My heart clenched. Ruin what? Ethan stepped closer to my bedside and adjusted my blanket, speaking softly, but I could hear the tremor in his tone. "Mom, rest. We'll take care of everything." They left in silence, but the air they left behind tasted poisonous. Hours passed. I stared at the ceiling, replaying every syllable. I needed answers. I requested my phone from a nurse, but she hesitated. "Your son said you shouldn't strain yourself." A strange dread crawled over me. Since when did Ethan speak for my thoughts? The next morning, the lawyer returned. This time, his voice was firm. "You must be discharged into a safe environment. With your inheritance, you'll need legal protection from opportunists." I understood immediately. Opportunists, like the ones pacing outside my room, whispering, hoping. He slid a folder onto my lap. "You'll also receive assets, houses, land titles, and full access in 30 days. 30 days. Suddenly, everything made sense why someone would want me asleep, silent, absent. I asked the question, trembling on my lips, who was supposed to manage the estate if I never woke up? He hesitated. "Your son, and his wife." My blood ran cold. Before he left, he leaned closer. Be cautious who you trust. Those words tied a knot around my heart. Later, during physical therapy, I caught glimpses of Amara speaking to a man I had never seen before, exchanging envelopes, whispering, glancing toward my room. Every instinct screamed danger. That evening, as I drifted to sleep, a shadow entered the room. Soft footsteps, gentle enough not to wake anyone, but I wasn't fully asleep. A voice murmured, "We only need 30 days, just 30. My breath trembled in my chest. Suddenly, a hand reached toward my foreline, but before it touched, the door burst open. The same nurse who warned me glared. "What are you doing here?" The figure fled into the corridor. The nurse checked my fore, then looked at me with fear in her eyes. "You're not safe here." She swallowed hard. "Luna, they want your silence." My eyes widened. This wasn't paranoia, it was a plan. If Luna's journey shocked you, hit like, share this story with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional family dramas and unbelievable twists. The nurse's words sat on my chest like a heavy weight. They want your silence. Silence meant death, or worse, disappearance. My throat tightened as I stared at my trembling hands. I was too weak to fight, too vulnerable to run, but too conscious to trust the wrong heartbeat around me. The nurse glanced at the hallway before closing my door gently. "My name is Nora," she whispered, pulling up a chair. "I've seen this before. Families circling patients like vultures when money's involved." Her voice lowered. "I overheard their conversation last night. Your daughter-in-law hired someone to tamper with your medication. That person is here." My heart struck my ribs like a drum. Amara wasn't just greedy, she was desperate. Nora squeezed my hand. "We need to move you to a private ward under supervision. No visitors, without permission." Before I could respond, footsteps echoed outside. Amara, Ethan. Their silhouettes paused in front of the door. I held my breath. Nora stepped away, pretending to adjust equipment. The door opened slowly. "Time for your dinner, Mother," Amara said sweetly, carrying a tray. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Nora placed a hand over the plate. "Doctor's orders, no outside food." Amara froze, her expression cracking for a split second. Ethan dragged her out, whispering sharply. I couldn't hear everything, but 2 words reached me. 30 days. That number circled my brain. 30 days until I gained full access. 30 days they didn't have. That night, sleep refused to come. Every beep from the monitors sounded like a countdown. In the dim light, I watched shadows crawl across the wall, like silent warnings. The next morning, Ethan visited alone. He sat beside me, forcing a gentle tone. "Mom, maybe signing some documents would make things easier. You should focus on rest. We'll handle the stress." There it was. The trap. I smiled weakly. "Bring them tomorrow. I'll sign anything." His eyes lit up. But inside, I felt the fire return. If they wanted war, they'd have it. When he left, Nora slipped in. "He's losing control," she whispered. "We can use that." She handed me a small phone. "In case of emergency, hide it." I tucked it under my pillow, feeling the weight of newfound power. For the first time since waking, I didn't feel helpless. Later, during therapy, I noticed a security guard watching me closely, but not with concern. His gaze followed Nora, then me, then Nora again. "He's not hospital staff," Nora murmured. "He's theirs." Outside my window, storm clouds bled across the sky. The building groaned under thunder. The nurse dimmed the room lights for rest. And in the flickering shadows, I saw Amara in the hallway, whispering into her phone, eyes glinting like shards of ice. "We need another plan," she hissed. "She's stronger than we thought." If only she knew. I wasn't just waking up from a coma. I was waking up to the truth. The storm outside howled like a warning. Thunder rattled the windows, shaking loose the last fragments of safety I'd been clinging to. By midnight, the hospital corridors fell silent, lights dimming to a sleepy blue. But I stayed awake, listening. Every step, every breath, every whisper. Nora had moved me to a private ward with a lock on the inside. But locks mean little to those who want you gone. Sleep pulled at my eyelids, slow and heavy, when suddenly a faint sound echoed near my door. Then another. I held my breath. Tap, tap. The handle turned slowly. My pulse skyrocketed. The door opened just an inch, enough for a man's silhouette to appear. Tall, broad shoulders, wearing a gray coat and a cap pulled low. Not a nurse, not a doctor. He slipped into the room with practiced silence. My mouth went dry. "Who are you?" He didn't answer. Instead, he approached my forepaw, pulling a syringe from his pocket. My hands shook. "Don't, please," he finally whispered, voice cold as steel. "It's nothing personal. Nothing personal." He was about to erase my life like a smudge on a paper. I scrambled for the emergency phone Nora gave me, but he saw the movement and lunged. His shadow swallowed the room. Just when his fingers grazed, the door burst open. "Stop," Nora shouted, pushing a crash cart into him, sending him stumbling. He cursed and bolted out, sprinting down the hallway. Alarms screamed as Nora slammed the panic button. Security guards swarmed the corridor, but the man disappeared into the emergency stairwell. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. Nora grabbed my shoulders. "He'll be back. We need to move you now." We rushed through dim hallways, avoiding eyes, avoiding shadows. Every corner felt like a trap waiting to snap shut. When we reached a secure wing, 2 uniformed guards stood watch. Nora leaned close to one. "She's the inheritance patient. Code Ember." His expression shifted immediately. Serious, protective. Inside, the room smelled sterile, safe, but my mind was chaos. "Why?" I whispered. "Why are they doing this?" Nora took a shaky breath. "Your inheritance exposes crimes. That relative you barely knew, he didn't just leave you money. He left you power. Power over land, investments, a company, decisions that certain people didn't want me controlling. They wanted someone weaker," Nora said softly, "someone they could manipulate." Suddenly, Ethan's kindness felt like a mask, Amara's sweetness like poison. I stared at the storm outside. Rain raced down the glass like desperate tears. "They won't stop, will they?" I asked. Nora's reply was quiet, honest. "No. Not until you stop them first." Lightning flashed, illuminating my face, not with fear, but determination. For the first time, I wasn't just trying to survive. I was preparing to fight. If Luna's journey shocked you, hit like, share this story with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional family dramas and unbelievable twists. Days passed in the secure wing, but safety felt like an illusion. Every time the door handle clicked, my heart jolted. Guards rotated, cameras blinked quietly, and nurses checked my vitals like clockwork. But the danger didn't disappear. It simply waited. Ethan and Amara weren't allowed inside anymore, unless I approved, and I didn't. Hearing that decision nearly shattered Amara's perfect smile. "She's turning against her own family," she muttered loud enough for me to hear. Family. The word tasted bitter now. While alone, I pulled out the small emergency phone Nora had given me. With trembling fingers, I dialed a number I never thought I'd use again. My old friend, Maya. We drifted apart years ago after I married, but she was sharp, loyal, and most importantly, unafraid. She answered on the first ring. "Is it really you? I heard about the coma no time," I whispered, voice cracking. "I'm in danger, and I need help." Within hours, Maya arrived. When she entered, her eyes widened at the sight of me, frail, bruised, but awake. She hugged me gently. "What's happening?" I explained everything. The inheritance, the whispers, the man in the gray coat. She listened without interrupting, eyes narrowing like a detective piecing clues together. "You said 30 days, she repeated. I nodded. Maya leaned back. "The estate includes shares in a corporation. I work with someone familiar with those records. If I can trace who benefits if you're gone, we'll find your enemies." Hope flickered inside me, fragile but warm. But just as Maya was leaving, she crossed paths with Ethan and Amara in the hallway. I watched through the glass, Amara's face twisted. "Who was that woman?" "My friend," I said firmly. "A friend," Amara scoffed. "You don't need outsiders meddling in family matters." Maya smiled politely, but her eyes sharpened. Funny choice of words. That night, quiet returned, until it shattered again. A commotion erupted outside my room. Raised voices, footsteps pounding the floor. "I want to see my mother," Ethan yelled. "She declined your visit," the guard replied calmly. "She's confused. She doesn't know what's best for her," Amara shrieked. I pressed my pillow to my chest. Confused. I had never been clearer. Suddenly, something slammed against the door. Amara had tried to push past. Guards restrained her as she screamed. "She's ruining everything." Ethan pulled her back, trembling with anger or fear. Enough. Their footsteps faded, leaving an eerie silence. Hours later, Nora snuck in, pale as snow. "They tried to forge new medical orders," she whispered. "Orders declaring you mentally incompetent." My blood iced. Incompetent patients can't control inheritances, Nora continued. Your son would gain authority immediately. My lungs tightened, my own flesh and blood. Maya's warning echoed. Find who benefits if you're gone now. I knew, not strangers, not corporate sharks, my family. Lightning crackled again, not outside, but inside me. They weren't just fighting for money. They were fighting to erase me. I didn't sleep that night, my thoughts twisted like tangled wires, sparking fear and betrayal in every corner of my mind. Ethan, my son, trying to take control of my life through legal paperwork. I raised him, held him when he cried, loved him when no one else did. How do you prepare for this kind of heartbreak? By sunrise, Maya returned carrying a laptop, her bags stuffed with files. She glanced around cautiously before locking the door. I dug into the inheritance records, she said, pulling up documents on the screen. Your late relative owned stakes in a large corporation. Someone's been secretly draining funds for years. My eyebrows knitted. Who? Maya clicked her tongue. Your son's wife's family, through shell accounts. If you take control legally in 30 days, their fraud is exposed. My breath caught. This wasn't just greed. This was survival. For them, they needed you gone before the audit cycle. Maya continued. Amara's parents, uncles, they all benefit if you disappear. The room spun. For them, I wasn't Luna, mother, friend, survivor. I was an obstacle. But why was Ethan involved? I whispered. Maya inhaled slowly. Look at the signatures. She zoomed in. My eyes widened. On financial transfers, property seizures, and legal attempts to claim my assets. Ethan's signature sat neatly beside Amara's. It felt like knives. A nurse knocked softly and wheeled in breakfast, but I couldn't bring myself to eat. Betrayal tasted stronger than hunger. Hours later, Ethan requested a video call. My palms sweated as his face appeared on the screen, eyes tired, voice shaking. Mom, we're worried about you. Something in his expression looked real. Was he manipulated or guilty? Amara hovered behind him like a shadow. We only want the best, Ethan added. I swallowed. If that's true, why try to declare me incompetent? His face cracked, panic flashing in his eyes. You misunderstood. No, I whispered. I finally understand. The call ended abruptly. Minutes later, Nora hurried in. You're moving floors again. They tried to bribe the last guard shift. Bribery now. The escalation never stopped. The new room was smaller but sealed like a vault. Cameras watched the hall. Security codes locked the door. Still. Fear flickered every time footsteps echoed. That evening, the head doctor visited, concern creasing his brow. Your son requested private access to your medical files. I froze. Did you give it to him? He shook his head firmly. No, that would require your consent. Relief washed through me, but only for a moment. Maya returned with fresh intel, eyes blazing. We have proof. Financial crimes, attempted medical tampering, bribery. With the right lawyer, Amara's entire family could be exposed. A spark lit inside me, fierce and bright. I'm done hiding, I said. Maya smiled. Then let's make sure you live to see justice. But when night fell, a sudden blackout swallowed the hospital. Monitors died, lights flickered off, hallways drowned in darkness. Nora burst through my door. They're coming. My heartbeat went silent. This wasn't fear anymore. This was war. If Luna's journey shocked you, hit like, share this story with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional family dramas and unbelievable twists. The moment the lights died, the hospital changed shape. What was once a sanctuary became a maze of danger. The hum of machines vanished. Silence pressed against the walls like a held breath. A flashlight beam sliced through the darkness, Nora's face pale with urgency. They cut the power to the east wing, she whispered. Backup generators should have kicked in, but they didn't. That could only mean one thing. Inside help. My pulse hammered. Nora moved quickly, locking my door and pushing a cabinet in front of it. We can't rely on hospital security anymore, she said. They've been compromised. My hands trembled around the edge of my blanket. A distant scream echoed through the hallway, followed by hurried footsteps. Nora swallowed. We stick together. Suddenly, the emergency lights flickered on, dim and red, coating everything in a blood-tinted glow. Shadows twisted across the walls. A knock hit my door. Slow, heavy, too slow to be a guard. Nora lifted the flashlight as if it were a weapon. Who is it? She demanded. A familiar voice answered. Mom, it's me. Ethan. My heart squeezed. Relief, fear, I couldn't tell. but his tone was wrong, flat, emotionless. Nora leaned close to me. Don't answer. Let him talk. He sighed on the other side. Mom, you're making this harder than it needs to be. The door handle rattled. Nora braced it with her shoulder. We just need the documents signed, Ethan continued. After that, everything goes back to normal. His words sliced deeper than knives. Normal. What did normal mean to a son willing to erase his own mother for money? Amara's voice followed. Honey, she's had a long life. It's our turn. My stomach twisted. Nora whispered. They're unhinged. Break it down. Amara ordered through the door. Boots thundered down the hallway. Reinforcements. Nora's jaw clenched. We're leaving. She pushed open a hidden service door behind a medical cabinet, a maintenance corridor. As alarms wailed in the distance, we slipped through. The corridors smelled of dust and forgotten years. Pipes hissed overhead. It felt like crawling inside the hospital's skeleton. We reached a stairwell. Nora peered down, then froze. The man in the gray coat stood below, eyes glinting upward, unbothered by the darkness. There you are, he said softly. Nora shoved me upward. Go. I climbed, legs burning, heart pounding. Nora blocked the stairwell, shouting, get help. I reached the top floor, stumbling into blinding emergency lights. The ICU guards rushed to me. Patient Luna, one asked urgently. Yes. They lifted me onto a stretcher and wheeled me toward the rooftop helipad. Safer transport. Helicopter blades roared, cutting through the night air. As I was loaded in, I looked back. Nora wrestled with the man, screaming for me to run. Tears blurred my vision. Nora. Doors slammed shut. The helicopter lifted. The city lights shrank below. For the first time, I realized something painful. This fight wasn't just about inheritance. It was about who I became when the world tried to erase me. I wasn't done. Even close. The helicopter blades roared as I gripped the seat. Below, the hospital shrank, the storm fading into distant flashes of lightning. My heart thudded, part fear, part determination. After weeks of deception, betrayal, and threats, I finally understood one thing. I wasn't a victim anymore. Nora and Maya met me at a secure private estate, far from the chaos. The documents Maya carried were airtight, evidence of Amara's family's fraud, the forged medical orders, the illegal attempts to seize my inheritance. Everything lined up perfectly. I can't believe this, I whispered, staring at the files. My hands shook with a mix of exhaustion and excitement. They thought they could erase me, control me. You're stronger than they imagined, Maya said with a gentle smile. And now the law is on your side. Over the next few days, we coordinated with lawyers and authorities. Ethan and Amara were summoned. At first, Ethan hesitated, torn between loyalty to his wife and his mother. But when presented with evidence, the truth staring him in the face, he finally realized the manipulation he'd been under. Tears welled in my eyes as he looked at me. Mom, I didn't know. I was blind. I reached for his hand. You were misled, Ethan. But it's never too late to do the right thing. Amara, confronted with the evidence of her family's crimes, paled. She had nothing left to manipulate, no secrets to hide. The authorities took action immediately, freezing assets, pressing charges, and ensuring justice was served. For the first time in weeks, I breathed freely. No threats, no whispers, no shadows, just the warmth of truth and the peace that comes when evil is exposed. Ethan stayed by my side as we watched Amara escorted away. There was a moment of silence between us, heavy but healing. I'm sorry, Mom, he said, his voice breaking, for everything I allowed. I hugged him tightly. You're my son. I love you. That's never changed. Days later, surrounded by friends and loved ones, we celebrated. Laughter replaced fear. Tears were no longer of grief, but of relief. Luna, the woman who had survived a coma, betrayal, and greed, stood tall, stronger than ever. And as I looked at Ethan, I realized something more important than money, family, honesty, and love could never be stolen. Even the storm outside had cleared, sunlight streaming through the windows, painting gold across the room. I smiled. After everything, life had given me a second chance to heal, to forgive, and to live fully. I had inherited more than millions. I had inherited courage, wisdom, and the knowledge that no one could take my spirit. The past was behind me. The future was mine. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly alive. If Luna's journey shocked you, hit like, share this story with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional family dramas and unbelievable twists.